Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Intellectual. This is Chris. I am your intellectual host. Well, at least I'm an intellectual to me. This is my second episode. We're checking out 10 more comic book covers. I am going to be putting together some themed top 10s on the comic books. Hopefully you'll get a kick out of them. I don't want to reveal what they are just yet. But right now I just collected another 10 titles and I thought, why not? Let me throw them out there and let y'all take a peek at them. The first one I have right here is The Incredible Hulk number 379. It's just a striking cover. I just love his face, and you can see the different Hulk iterations inside the Hulk name. It's just a really, really neat cover. I've always kind of liked this one. And if I am not mistaken, this was published out in 1991. So let's go to the next one. This one here, I've always got a kick out of this one. I did always enjoy the Marvel team-ups and the what-ifs. Those were two like guilty pleasures that I did have. This was the Marvel Team-Up 150 that was put out in 1985, and this was the last Marvel team-up that they did for a while. I can honestly say I'm not sure if they ever did any more Marvel team-ups after this. I had kind of lost track a little. The artwork on here is kind of interesting. They kind of went for more of a surreal, I guess is what you could say. But I do love the top left logo. You see Spider-Man walking off into the sunset with his back turned. It's just a really neat cover. I've always liked this one. Here is the next one. This one came out in 1971. This is Action Comics number 401. As you can tell, he has been captured. It's a neat comic. This one's a little bit faded. The ones that are in better condition, the yellows and the bright whites that come off close to the sun, it's just a really neat cover to me. I've always kind of got a kick out of this one. And it just shows a little bit of vulnerability, even though, you know, in the comic book, not so much, but still a very nice cover. Now, this next one I've always kind of got a kick out of personally. I was a fan of Atari because I was a child of the 80s, so go figure that. Did have Atari, and DC did come out with Atari Force. Not too much to do with the video game, but it was an interesting little read at the time. Space adventure, and just kind of a neat little comic book all around. I don't know how many people do know of it, but this little cover, I kind of like all the little creatures that are around him, and the one looking back towards, I guess, more of his invading horde. But just a neat little comic book cover. I've always kind of got a kick, and it's based on Atari, so go figure that, right? So here comes the next one. Tales of the Living Corpse number 2. Not a whole lot to be said about this cover. Just one that I really like. Mad scientist dealing with brains. Along the same genre of way back in the day. When the comic book censoring finally got put into place. But I saw this one about a year and a half ago. I believe I was in Pennsylvania somewhere. And just visiting a little comic book shop. I saw it's not in the greatest shape. But just these kind of period comic books like this have always appealed to me. And I do have more in my collection. I'll probably pull more of them out later on. Let y'all take a look, see what you like. And who knows, that might be, you know, one of my top 10s that I decide to throw out after a while. Now the next one, again, another Incredible Hulk, number 296. And if I'm not mistaken, which I'm pretty sure I'm right, this did come out in 1984. Little storyline, To Cure or Kill. Had Rom the Space Knight. I always did like Rom, but I never really did collect him much. And I kind of regret that, because some of the readings that I've done later on, that I have got a little bit older, I think I'm going to actually go back and get some of his comics and just check them out, just to read up on him, because I've heard good things about it. So I'm going to give it a shot and see if I do like the storylines of Rom. But I do like this cover. Now, back in the 80s, they had the little limited series run. And this one also came from 1984. And this was actually one of my more... I really did like this limited series when it came out. It was the Jack of Hearts. It was in 1984. Basically, the storyline is this little superhero has all this great power, but it keeps building and building. And eventually, he's going to blow up and take probably the universe, a universe and a half. Very powerful guy. So he ends up going off into space. Later on, he does meet up with the Silver Surfer. Now, I don't want to give too much away. If you want to read up on him, very interesting character, and his limited series was actually a very good limited series. I do like the little energy coming off of his hands, and the pinks and the greens, and the two-sided face, which that is how he does look, and just an excellent cover. Now, we're going to go to 97, Image Comics, and I don't think it's going to hold up there, so I'll just hold on to it. This was Kiss Psycho Circus number 6. Just something about this cover. I mean, this book, in my opinion, not the greatest of books, but the covers were all fantastic. I mean, looking at all of them there, in space... You got all 4 of the members. The very striking blues and the teals compared with the blacks. Just a very striking cover, and I like how it's half and halved. Well, not quite half and halved, but, you know, one just solid white, and then the rest you have all the action going on. Just a really, really neat cover to me. Now, the next one I've got just recently... And it is an autographed by Mr. O'Neill, yes, which I'm very proud to say I've got a hold of this book. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, number 1. It is autographed by Mr. O'Neill, very good comic book. It was the start of something new. It was a neat little thing. Now, there's not a whole lot about this comic book that is overly striking, but I do like just the blackout of the cowl and the cape. Is it the actual cowl and cape of Batman? Well, not really. At least not to me, not really. But I just really like the look of it. They did it in different colors when they came out with this book in 89. And they had like a pink and then this like greenish yellow and a few other colors, and I would like to get more of the other colors to it, but I do like this, and yes, it is autographed, and very happy to have that autographed. And the last one I have for you today is one book that I really like. It was a really neat little read, kind of shook up everything, and DC versus Marvel, 1996. It was the start of that big storyline. Only one universe is going to be able to survive, so we're going to pit all the heroes against each other and see who's worthy of surviving. Now, we do know all the crossovers that came after this, but this one comic book right here, I've always liked it because you have all the DC on the left and Marvel on the right. And you see the potential matchups on who's going to be going up against who. But a very neat storyline. If you've never read it, I actually would recommend you all to read this. It's very cool. And it has an interesting little twist ending that I really wasn't expecting when I was reading it, but I should have. Let's just put it that way. And these are just 10 more comic books that I've done. Again, if you do like this, leave me a comment. If you don't like it, leave me a comment. Let me know. Say, you just suck. I really don't care what you do. Just leave a comment. I want to do this, and throw me some more suggestions out. I've had a couple. Give me some suggestions to do. So if you'd like to see me do a top 10 on a particular kind of comic book, let me know. If you have questions about comic book, let me know. I am your comic book intellectual, and I will see you next time.